The importance of mindful relationships for clinicians in our work and our lives. First of all, we have to learn to relax and be open to the body and mind in our relationships. So let's just relax and watch the breathing with our full awareness. It enters your nose and goes into your chest, going back and forth. You're just about the attention you're making, not particularly the object of attention. Just watch and let go of everything else. And see how many breaths you can take without losing your concentration on the breath. You can concentrate on the point where the breath touches the inside of your nose or your upper lip. Or you can concentrate on your chest going back and forth. Just practice watching and counting your breaths. And see how many times you can keep on counting your breaths without your mind losing its concentration. So see how many breaths you can take and increase it. And if you practice well, you can do up to 30 or 40 breaths without losing your concentration. But if you're just starting and not well concentrated, you can only do about 3 or 4. So you've got to practice many times so your breath can become your anchor point for stability and peace. So if we want to learn about our relationships and our mind, the importance of our relationships, we've got to be able to see what we're doing. That means we've got to be able to concentrate our mind and watch carefully. So there have been many studies done on mindfulness, and over the last decade or so, the number of studies have gone up exponentially. And they look at the interrelationships both in your own body and mind and without your body and your environment and other people. The word heart is often used in relation to emotions. And in a sense, the word heart and minds are interchangeable. So the Mindfulness Research Monthly gives monthly updates and reviews of what the current position are with papers. So this is a picture of what the front of the Mindfulness Research Monthly puts out, the various papers you can see and the various topics. Then you can go and look up those of interest to you. So mindfulness meditation, real meditation practice, is how we're living our lives in the present moment. That is, being aware of relationships and just watching without putting our likes and dislikes on what we're being aware of. We do not get in our own way, for example with communication, mobiles and TV, etc. We can block the nose to show the importance of the breath, but that's not what we should be attending to. We should be attending to attention itself. The present moment is the only moment that is real. If we dream of the future or dream of the past, they're just dreams. It's only the present moment which you can make changes for the better or for the worse. When we're with others, we must watch what we're attending to. We must attend to our relations with friends or patients or whoever we're with, and not go off dreaming of what we should be or what we should not be. In our default mode, they can readily see that we've lost our concentration. So we must give our full attention and focus if we're going to have good relationships. And our facial expressions and movements show them where we are. Are we in our default mode? In other words, are we just dreaming of things and not the present moment? Or are we actually in the present moment and tending with empathy to them? Even just a visual mobile phone on can stop full focus on a relationship, because we're thinking what might be coming inside instead of thinking of who we're with. Now brain scans can show us a lot of what happens when we are mindful. We're in the present moment. An MRI scan shows that after an 8-week course in mindfulness practice, the brain's fight and flight center, the amygdala, shrinks. And this is the primal region of the brain associated with fear and emotion. It's involved in initiation of body response to stress. So mindfulness practice and expertise in it is associated with a decreased volume of the grey matter of the amygdala, a keen stress responding region. In other words, this red part in the brain, which is the amygdala gets less, and your fear and your stress response gets less when you practice being mindful. As the amygdala shrinks, the prefrontal cortex, that's the front of our brain, associated with higher order brain functions such as awareness, concentration, decision making, becomes thicker when we practice mindfulness meditation. The functional connectivity between these regions, that is, how often they are activated together, also changes, and the connection between the amygdala and the rest of the brain gets weaker, while the connection between the areas associated with attention and concentration gets stronger. In other words, our fears and our stresses get less. First is the connections are made up when we're practicing mindfulness. It's with the anterior cingulate cortex, a structure located deep inside the forehead behind the brain's frontal lobe. And this area is associated with self-regulation, meaning the ability to purposely direct attention and behavior, suppress inappropriate responses, and switch strategies flexibly. And people with damaged anterior cingulate cortex shows impulsivity and unchecked aggression, and those with impaired connections between this and the other regions of the brains perform poorly on tests of mental flexibility. They hold on to ineffective problem-solving strategies rather than adapting their behavior. So mindfulness meditation rectifies all these situations. So meditators demonstrate superior performance on tests of self-regulation, resisting distractions and making correct answers more often than non-meditators. They also show more activity in the anterior cingulate cortex than non-meditators. In addition to self-regulation, the anterior cingulate cortex is associated with learning from past experiences to support optimal decision-making. Scientists point out that the ACC may be particularly important in the face of uncertain and fast-changing conditions. So with mindfulness meditation, all this is strengthened. The second part of the brain particularly affected is the hippocampus, a region that has showed increased amounts of grey matter in brains of the 2011 mindfulness program participants. This seahorse-shaped area is buried inside the temple on each side of the brain, and is part of the limbic system, that is the old emotional system of the brain, a set of inner structures associated with emotion and memory. It is covered in receptors for stress hormone cortisol, and studies have shown that it can be damaged by chronic stress, contributing a harmful spiral in the body, because in chronic stress you get high levels of cortisol all the time. And people with stress-related disorders like depression and post-traumatic stress disorders tend to have a smaller hippocampus, and all this points to the importance of the brain area in resilience. Neuroscience have also shown that practicing mindfulness affects brain areas related to perception, body awareness, pain tolerance, emotional regulation, introspection, complex thinking, and a sense of self. They found that meditation practice was associated with increased functional activation in a wide network of areas, including the bilateral middle frontal gyrus, precentral gyrus, anterior cingulate cortex, insula, and claustrum. In the left hemisphere, they also found increased activation at the level of the inferior frontal gyrus, precuneus, caudate nucleus, and thalamus. In the right hemisphere, they found increased activation in the medial frontal gyrus, hippocampal gyrus, middle occipital gyrus, inferior parietal lobule, and lentiform nucleus. So all these areas marked in red, the top part is in the left hemisphere of the brain, and the right hemisphere is in the bottom part of the picture. All lit up, more activities strengthened with mindfulness meditation. And all these areas help communication across the brain and help strengthen the brain. So meditation practice induces functional and structural brain modifications, especially in areas involved in self-referential processes, including self-awareness and self-regulation, as well as areas involved in attention, executive functions, and memory formations. Structural and functional modification in the network may be the biological substrate of pervasive effect of meditation practice in everyday life. And these findings, taken together with the previous ones, are leading for new applications of meditation practice in clinical populations and disease prevention, especially in at-risk groups such as the elderly. So they found that this actually proves the effect of mindfulness meditation in sick people with disease, preventing the disease progressing further, and also mental health, people with depression, especially in risk groups like the older people. So mindfulness meditation practice makes improved integration, giving improved health and well-being. And mindfulness means being aware of what's happening in the present moment with openness, objectivity, and observation. Mindfulness practice reduces burnout, where you can come to learn how to look after yourself. Mindfulness meditation can help reshape neural pathways in the brain. Laughter, joy, and affection leads to neuroplasticity, giving beneficial changes in the brain. Mindfulness training can improve epigenetic deficiencies. That's areas around your DNA in your cells when they're not working properly. I've had problems from trauma from past, from previous generations. They can be rectified. It improves your immune function. Now you can resist diseases better, and it also reduces the destruction of telomeres. And telomere destruction, and when they are destroyed, you get older more quickly. So mindfulness meditation can help you live longer. I mentioned before your default mode and how people can see if you're in the default mode when you're not concentrating. And a default mode is the way we continually think about our favorite subject, which is ourself, and make up possible events and situations based on underlying fears, beliefs, or biases and memories, and not in the reality of the present moment, but we're in dreams. So these break our empathy and compassion and cause worry and unhappiness. So when you're sitting down with somebody and you're in your default mode, you're not concentrating, you're not in the present moment, you're out in your dreams. And these are just going round and round in your head, and they can cause you worry and unhappiness, because they're based on your beliefs and biases and memories, and not real. And the default mode becomes our focus of attention, where we're not attending to what we're doing in the present moment. And mindfulness awareness helps us to stop booting up the narrative and instead grow understanding and wisdom. So we're not lost in our funny ideas and dreams and worries and thoughts. The default mode is activated when we're not concentrating on what we're doing in the present moment, but we're in these dreaming states. And this is shown in our MRI studies in red in these photographs. So we have to be aware and stop the default mode creating problems and unhappiness in ourselves. So go back to our first practice. To start with, we have to be aware of the breath. We do not control what our normal breathing is or tell our phrenic nerve what to do. We just watch what's happening. We practice like we're surfing on the waves of the breath, like we surf on the waves of the sea. We say that all arise and they pass. Arise and they pass. But the nature of our mind is to drift off and dream. So we're going to bring ourselves back and just watch, rising and passing and being in the present moment watching. Awareness touches like we touch soap bubbles. We just watch it all dissolve, arising and passing. And as I mentioned before, we can help our concentration by concentrating on a particular point of our nose or our chest, and learning how to do that properly, and count the number of breaths we can do it for, and increase it and make it better so our concentration can sharp. And then we just come on to watching. Just come to watching what's arising and what's passing. What's arising and passing. And we start off watching our breath. Then you expand your awareness to your whole of your body, and being aware of the constant changes happening across and inside the body. And just noting there's nothing constant or unchanging. And seeing the body consists of what it takes in to keep it running. We take in air, oxygen, which comes from photosynthesis in plants. We take in water, which comes from the clouds and the rain, which is from the evaporation of the sea, lakes and trees. We take in food, which comes from the plant, directly, or by animals, and the plants take in the elements and water from the earth. And we have energy from the sun, making all this work together. So just watch, being aware of the constant changes in our body, starting with the breath, the oxygen, looking how when we're drinking, and how we're eating, and how the energy is running in our body. Just watching and being aware. See, there's nothing constant, nothing unchanging. Arising and passing, arising and passing. You can look down now at your hand. And do you just recognize your hand as something constant, the end of your arm, with its various uses? Or can you see it as something that's constantly and rapidly changing? Can you see what it really is? Is the skin changing? If you rub your hand, how many skin cells come off? If you cut your hand, how does it repair itself? Is there constant flow through the hand and the fingers? Is your hand cold or warm? Is the blood keeping it warm? Can you feel the pulse in your hand? Is there a constant flow of nervous energy throughout the hand and up and down from the larger nerves? What moves it? Look at the tendons and muscles moving. How can you feel the nerves taking the sensation? What is happening in the cells? What's changing all the time? Can you see this constant change in your hand? Or you just deluded and see there's something constant, unchanging? We're used to seeing it just like being something like a tongs or whatever you like, something made of metal, start unchanging. But your hand is constantly changing, moving, pulsing. So when you look at your hand in the future, just remember this. And you should be aware, not just of your body, but also of your feelings and sensations. You watch hundreds of feelings and sensations arising in your body all the time. But usually we just notice a few. There's so many coming in. If you just carefully sit back and look at your body now, starting from your head and scanning right down to your body and trunk and legs and arms and toes and fingers, you see so many feelings coming into your body all the time, forever changing. We usually like to hold on to the pleasant feelings and let go of the unpleasant, and not taking notice of the neutral ones. Whether we hold on to or push away feelings depends on how we see them, which depends on our experience which we've had, which created our likes and dislikes, and our beliefs about things and about people. If we suddenly see somebody we don't like coming up, it gives a feeling of dislike, we hold on to that, and we approach the person in a particular way. Or if we find somebody coming up we're attracted to, it creates a different sort of sensation. We like that. We're feeling really pleased and we want to hold on to it. Same for other things. Our feelings are changing all the time, arising and passing, changing, many of them. Feelings help us to build up a picture of the world around us and how we react. Depending on what feelings we have, we see the world around us in different ways. Depending on what feelings we have, we react in different ways to various things. As well as from our skin, our feelings arise from our thoughts, following what we see, hear, smell, taste, touch, think or dream of. And we rapidly assess the feelings that arise with using our memories of previous experiences and our belief systems. We then create thoughts based on these, which create the way we see what is happening around us, and determines how we react with further thoughts, what we say and what we do. So we've got to become aware of our state of mind, which is created by the feelings. These feelings create this picture of our state of mind, which can be worried, stressed, frightened, confused, happy, delirious, jealous, filled with anger or hatred or lust, or peaceful, concentrated, or uplifted. So we've got to become aware what has determined our states of mind and how it changes, and how this too, the state of mind, is not permanent, it's always changing. Become aware that if you let go of attaching to feelings with detrimental likes and dislikes, you can avoid having unhappy and detrimental states of mind. So you watch your feelings, and if they are attracted to detrimental thoughts, like greed and hatreds and delusions about oneself, then you're going to end up having unhappy states of mind. When you have beneficial states of mind, like love and compassion and joy, then you're going to be happy. Become aware of the whole environment that gives rise to our sensory inputs. Become aware of the interconnectedness between our thoughts that come in from outside. Our thoughts don't just arise randomly, they follow these stimuli. We are interdependent with all of these. Just as our body is interdependent with the inputs that keep it alive, our thoughts are interdependent what comes through our sensory organs and our dreams and our mind. Know that how we react to these inputs determines the way we see the world around us and how we relate to them. So we've got to be more aware of how our responses also goes back and affects the world around us and other people around us. So our practice is to sit quietly with pure attention so we can appreciate all this. And it takes practice to appreciate what's going on in our minds, for we're used to quickly and automatically reacting to our feelings and our thoughts based on our previous experience, memories, ideas and beliefs. If we don't just appreciate what's going on, we just continue reacting quickly and not helping our mental states develop and assist us. So we want to develop the focus on the breath, which this can become the anchor point to help us stay in pure awareness and come to see things as they clearly are. That's why focusing our breath on focusing our attention on one point of the breath is so important to stop our mind wandering. And this is our anchor point, so we can use it to stay in awareness and just be realistic and see things as they really are. So being aware without attachment can assist us to overcome many problems. And mindfulness is used in medical practice to assist patients to become stronger and more peaceful and help them overcome mental health issues and illnesses. And to do this, it requires them to be able to control their thoughts and practice meditation. This can help overcome pain, anxiety, depression, as well as strengthen the immune system and improve their state of well-being and their length of life. Being aware can help relieve pain. And healing comes when we come to terms with things as they are. If we think, this pain is killing me, it's not true, for it's not killing in the present moment. Am I exaggerating the pain in my default mode with worry and ruminations? Am I letting my default mode take over, thinking and going round and round in thoughts and trains and ruminations about the pain? Is my awareness of the pain suffering? Ask this with compassion. Pain can teach us a lot about reality, and so can observing aging, getting old, the changes which we don't like. Mindfulness is pure awareness, it's not a distraction. So, we can hold the anxiety or pain in the field of awareness and see it's not mine. It's just the pain. And this leads us to freedom by transcending the essence of the problem. We can just watch and see just the pain is there and not let it grow into the default mode and exaggerate the whole thing. Mindfulness is not just a procedure or coping strategy. There's nothing more profound than the practice of mindfulness, because we're seeing things as they really are. We must grow in a practice so we'll be able to benefit ourselves and others in our whole life. So we want to help patients in clinical settings. Then we've got to be able to do it ourselves and show them how to do it. Likewise, mindfulness is very helpful in treatment of depression, which is becoming a much more prevalent problem in modern society. A recent study in The Lancet in 2015 found that mindfulness-based cognitive therapy helped prevent depression recurrence just as effectively as maintenance antidepressant medication. The study found that it had a large effect on people with histories of more childhood abuse, which had been associated with a greater risk of relapse than on participants overall. An evidence map of mindfulness prepared for the US Department of Veterans Affairs in 2014 on all types of meditation interventions found the most consistent effect on depression versus other health conditions. People at risk of depression are dealing with a lot of negative thoughts, feelings and beliefs about themselves, and this can easily slide to depressive relapse. From the Lancet study. And practicing mindfulness-based cognitive therapy helps them recognize that it's happening, engage with it in a different way, and respond with it with equanimity and compassion for themselves. It was said that people with active depression could concentrate, but we didn't find this at all. They practiced it pretty actively. They're often interested in getting treatment from other than from medications too. They're not sick of just taking medications, and they can actually take control of their own illness by examining it with mindfulness. And mindfulness can give them a greater sense of self-efficiency. One issue limiting the growth of mindfulness-based cognitive therapy and mindfulness-based stress reduction is access to training for clinicians. And this is particularly true outside urban areas, even in the United States, where much progress has been made in this area. In response to this, Dr. Siegel and Liwen Jian have developed web-based adaptations for the protocol called Mindfulness Mood Balance, which just launched last year, and includes a lesson on a 3-minute breathing space and compressed mindful practice. And Dr. John Kabat-Zinn has similar programs for mindfulness-based stress reduction, and there are also YouTube videos which show you how to do it. So mindfulness is important for all of us. And psychology expect many more answers and questions given the growing popularity of mindfulness among research and the public. That increased attention may be a backlash against what Dr. Dan Siegel says, the 500-channel universe with constant distractions that's part of modern societies, like our cell phones, TV, everything coming, distracting us all the time. And mindfulness becomes an oasis of peace. And mindfulness has penetrated Western culture in a way that would have been inconceivable 20 or 30 years ago, when I started to investigate it for a potential treatment of mood disorders, says Dr. Siegel. It resonates with people's desires to find a way of slowing down and returning to inner psychology reality that's not perturbed. It's peaceful. So, settle with awareness into the moment, as if the only moment. For it is the only moment. The only moment we can affect is the present moment now. Don't stay in your dreams in your default mode. But mindfulness meditation requires us to practice regularly and recognize it's important to our well-being. We can only help others when we know how to do it ourselves. And the more proficiently and regularly we practice, the more our well-being. When practicing by ourselves, if we think of all those others practicing at this moment across the whole planet, they give us strength to practice more deeply. So we don't just think of us as being isolated practitioners. And real meditation is how we spend our lives. It's not just when we're sitting in awareness, it's being aware all the time. We watch these feelings coming up when we're active in our life, when we're meeting people, when we're doing things. And we don't let destructive thoughts and destructive feelings destruct our well-being, our world, and how we react. When we are present in our now, the present moment, and not lost in dreams to the default mode, many opportunities open up. We're not lost in ourselves. Mindfulness can show how boring it is to have the same old thoughts recurring again and again, and holding on to them, and creating our own reality based on our default mode. But this reality is not true. We're much bigger than this default mode picture. But when we just follow it, it causes us huge suffering. And we should be happy by staying in the present moment, and not holding on to such thoughts. Starting mindfulness meditation can be the hardest work in the world, because the mind lacks that default mode and going round and round. But really, what is more important? There's no better time than now to be free from self-destructive thoughts. The only time we can influence the future is now, in the present moment. So we've got to watch non-judgmentally, being aware of what arising and see the consequences. Examine the download suffering that may follow if we proceed to follow or hold on to things with strong desire or dislike. Become wise and non-harming. Foster relationships with love, compassion and joy. We need these to help us stay in the present moment. So we practice. A good time to practice is in the morning. When you wake up, you become aware of what's all around you. First let your body and mind become peaceful and quiet. And just anchor yourself on the breath, so you're not swept away by thoughts and feelings. Then remove all destructive thoughts that can cause problems. These destructive thoughts are greed and strong desires, dislikes and anger, worries and stress, unfounded fears and lack of confidence, arrogance, selfishness, and beliefs that we are separate from others with whom we have relationships. Just remove those distracted thoughts. Anchor yourself on the breath, and so you're not swept away by these thoughts and feelings. And this will allow your view of reality and the world to change and help develop beneficial thoughts and actions. And beneficial actions, words and thoughts will come back from others when you send them out in your relationships, and enhancing your own and their well-being and health and happiness. Beneficial thoughts are ones of love and compassion and joy and peace, contentment and strength. So if you wake up in the mornings and practice like this, anchoring yourself on the breath, developing these beneficial thoughts, doing away with distracted thoughts, being calm, being strong, and this makes you develop in a good mood and see things as they are, and you have a beneficial and happy day. Other good times to practice are when you're about to go to sleep, and early afternoon after lunchtime, to help you be set up for the afternoon. So make awareness your new default mode, not the old ruminating, thinking and worries and anxieties of the normal default mode of thinking about yourself. Make awareness your new default mode. Some more information you can get by referring to Dr. John Kabat-Zinn, Dr. Dan Siegel, Dr. Richard Davidson. Their books and their videos you can go through and see these people presenting on. Books that are available include the following: Mindful Teaching and Teaching Mindfulness, Teaching Mindfulness, a practical guide for clinicians and educators, Mindfulness, Integrated Cognitive Behavior Therapy, General Principles and Guidelines, The Mindful Therapist, a clinical investigating guide into insight and neural investigation, Mindfulness-Based Stress Reduction Workbook, Practical Neuroscience of Happiness, Love and Wisdom, Learn to Breathe, and one for kids is Meditation Capsules. These are here to help. Mindful relations are so important in all our life for our own well-being and those of our patients and our friends. So it's really worth the practice.